Good evening. I would like to call to order the City Council meeting for the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado for Monday, April the 14th, 2025. If you would please stand as you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll of the members?
Jenny Snell,
Present.
Rachel Holteen,
Present.
Janice Hoppy,
Present.
Corey Stites,
Present.
Dan Larson,
Present.
Scott Ohm,
Here.
Amanda Weaver,
Here.
and Leah Dozeman will be joining us via Zoom. She hasn't signed in yet.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilors, in your packet, we have several documents, minutes, and notes. We have the study session notes for March 17, 2025, and City Council meeting minutes for March 24, 2025. Are there any corrections to be noted in the minutes or study session notes? Seeing none, we'll let them stand approved with our thanks to the clerk. Are there any changes to be noted in the agenda? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the agenda as presented, and we're going to do some proclamations. I'd like to invite Roger Pankow to join me at the podium if Roger's here. Good evening. How are you tonight? Good. Thank you for joining us. Please stand here. This is a proclamation in support of Animal Care and Control Officer Appreciation Week, April 13th through 19, 2025. Whereas animal care and control personnel provide essential community functions by enforcing animal control laws, protecting the public from diseases such as rabies, and educating the public on the proper care of community pets. And whereas animal care and control personnel risk life and limb by going out into the public to protect the welfare of helpless animals and pets that are rescued from injury, disease, abuse, and starvation. And whereas animal care and control officers conduct humane investigations and protect animals from abusers and people from dangerous animals. And whereas animal care and control officers are the voice of justice for the voiceless victims they often defend in a court of law. And whereas the City of Wheat Ridge is hereby dedicated to showing our appreciation to the animal care and control officers who endorse the bond between animals and humans, advocating for responsible ownership by setting standards of professionalism in public safety and animal welfare. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Bud Starker, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, and the Wheat Ridge City Council do hereby declare the week of April 13 through 19, 2025 as Animal Care and Control Officer Appreciation Week, and reaffirm our city's commitment to supporting the men and women tasked with enforcing regulations, bylaws, and ordinance regarding animal control, dated this 14th day of April 2025. And this is for you, if you'd like to say a few words. Thank you, sir. Yes.
It is an honor to accept this award for the community service officers and our seasonal rangers who patrol our parks, cities, and streets every day to help improve the quality and safety of our citizenry. It is a great honor to receive this for our team, and I appreciate all of you for this award. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away. We're going to do a picture right here. This is for you if you want to hold that. Let's open that up. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate the work you do. Okay. I'd like to invite Jen Griffin to join me at the podium. Excellent. How are you today? How are you, sir? Good to have you here. Thanks so much. I have a proclamation in support of National Crime Victims' Rights Week, April 6 through 12, 2025. Whereas the victim rights movement has resulted in the passage of laws at the local, state, and federal levels that establish essential rights for victims. And whereas the rights of crime victims are best protected when all participants in the criminal justice process, not only victims, are appropriately educated about victims' rights. And whereas supporting victims of crime is crucial to the U.S. justice system because our support honors the experiences of victims and allows them to find autonomy and empowerment through achieving self-defined goals. And whereas the accomplishments of the victims' rights movement, achieved through compassion and collaboration and built on the courageous advocacy of individual victims and their families across the country, inspire in us hope for future progress and greater healing. And whereas the City of Wheat Ridge is hereby dedicated to strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victim service providers, and bringing hope and healing to all victims and survivors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Bud Starker, and the City Council of the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, do hereby declare the week of April 6 through 12 as National Crime Victim Rights Week, and reaffirm our city's commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all victims of crime, and to express our sincere gratitude and appreciation for those community members, victim service providers, and criminal justice professionals who are committed to improving our response to all victims of crime so that they may find relevant assistance, support, justice, and peace. Dated this 14th day of April, 2025. Pleased to present this to you. I'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. My name is Dave Pickett, and I am the board president of the Victim Outreach, which is the provider of victim services for the City of Wheat Ridge and the Wheat Ridge Police Department. The collaboration between Victim Outreach and the City of Wheat Ridge is 39 years old this year. And for that time, the City of Wheat Ridge and the Wheat Ridge Police Department have demonstrated again and again their commitment to victim rights. For that, we thank the council, we thank the mayor, and the police department for their unwavering support to victims' rights. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Benny Paz and Jim Romelt to join me here at the podium. How are you tonight? I'm pleased to read a proclamation in support of Earth Day, April 22nd, 2025, and National Arbor Day, April 25th, 2025. Whereas all people, regardless of race, gender, income, or geography, have a right to a healthy, sustainable environment with economic growth and opportunity. And whereas we are all caretakers of our planet and have an obligation to combat climate change and environmental degradation to preserve the Earth's beauty and resources. And whereas this year marks the 55th anniversary of the Earth Day movement, and let it be known that the City of Wheat Ridge encourages all businesses, institutions, and individuals to celebrate the Earth and commit to caring for the planet and its resources. And whereas trees provided one of the first business opportunities in Wheat Ridge in the 1860s, and whereas trees continue to be an important part of the quality of life to community members and visitors, enhancing property values and community spirit. And whereas residences, business, the green industry, elected officials, and staff continue to work together to maintain and provide a healthy tree canopy throughout the city of Wheat Ridge as part of a comprehensive community forest program. And whereas the city of Wheat Ridge has been awarded Tree City USA dedication by the National Arbor Foundation for 45 years. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Bud Starker, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, and the Wheat Ridge City Council, do hereby declare Tuesday, April 22nd, as City of Wheat Ridge Earth Day celebration, encouraging people in Wheat Ridge to combat climate change and environmental degradation, support green economy initiatives, and inspire others to undertake similar actions. And I also declare Friday, April 25th, 2025, as City of Wheat Ridge Arbor Day celebration, encouraging community members and businesses of Wheat Ridge to care for, enjoy, and appreciate trees in your yard, your neighborhood, and throughout our city. Thank you. Here's a little something for you.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. It's an honor to accept this Arbor Day proclamation on behalf of the city's forestry team and Jim. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank our forestry crew for their dedication and hard work, from planting and pruning to maintaining tree health and responding to resident concerns. They play a vital role in keeping Wheat Ridge green, healthy, and beautiful. We're excited to celebrate Arbor Day not just today, but throughout the season. I'd like to give a few upcoming events. Our annual Arbor Day tree sale will be this Saturday. What are the times on that, Joe? 8 to 3. And our free branch drop-off will be at Anderson Park on May 2nd and 3rd from 8 to 3 both days. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you all. Thanks, Bud. All right. I would like to invite Jim Romeltz and Mary Hester up to the podium to join me. Good to see you. Hi, how are you doing? Good, great to have you. Okay. I have a proclamation in support of Leave No Trace Awareness Day, April 14th, 2025. Got something going on every day this month. Whereas the natural beauty, wildlife, environment, and recreational opportunities in Wheat Ridge are vital to the health, well-being, and enjoyment of residents and visitors alike. And whereas the Leave No Trace Center for Outdoor Ethics promotes the responsible enjoyment and active stewardship of the outdoors through education, research, and partnerships. And whereas the 7 principles of Leave No Trace: plan ahead and prepare, travel and camp on durable surfaces, dispose of waste properly, leave what you find, minimize campfire impacts, respect wildlife, and be considerate of others, provide a framework for minimizing our impacts on natural and shared spaces. And whereas in 2023, the Wheat Ridge Greenbelt was selected as one of 20 Leave No Trace Spotlight sites nationwide, recognizing the community's commitment to environmental stewardship and ongoing efforts. And whereas adopting Leave No Trace practices helps preserve parks, open spaces, and wetlands, protects local ecosystems and wildlife, and fosters a culture of respect and responsibility within our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Bud Starker, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, and the Wheat Ridge City Council, call upon the Wheat Ridge community to join us in recognizing April 14th, 2025 as Leave No Trace Awareness Day in the City of Wheat Ridge, and encourage all individuals to practice and promote the Leave No Trace principles to protect our environment now and for future generations. Dated this 14th day of April, 2025. Say a few words. Okay, let's go. Everybody can
I'll
have it.
Not too much to add. Just thank you for your continued support. We really appreciate it. So thank you.
Just to say that June 7th, we have a Leave No Trace event overlaying the 7 principles. Feel free to sign up. It's on the city website, rootedinfun.com. Love to see lots of people there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've got it all set, so. All right, thank you all very much. We are now at our public's right to speak portion of our agenda. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address their city council on any topic that is not on our agenda tonight. If you have signed up to speak tonight, I will call your name as well as the name of the next person on deck. When I call your name to speak, please come to the podium. Please give us your first name and last name. Please spell your last name for the record. Please tell us whether you live or work in Wheat Ridge. You will have 3 minutes to address the council. There are colored lights on the clerk's desk visible from the podium. A solid green light will come on when you begin to speak. When the green light begins to blink, you'll have 30 seconds remaining. When the green light changes yellow, you have 15 seconds left. When the red light comes on, your time is over. Please conclude your remarks. City council members have the right, but not the obligation, to address any comments made after the last speaker is finished. We will not be taking any comment on the Lutheran Legacy Campus rezoning, as that's been postponed until April the 28th. Our first speaker is Bob Tim, and I have no one on deck.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, and City Manager. My name is Bob Tim, and I'm from Wheat Ridge Rotary. It's my honor to be here as part of the city and represent some of the service clubs that we have here. And it's particularly cool about Wheat Ridge Rotary this year. We're celebrating our 50th year anniversary. As I look through the room, not too many people are even over 50 years here. So we've been doing a lot of service projects here in the city and around the world. In fact, one of the things that we're going to do for our second year is a tree scholarship program. So in connection with Jim and Benny, we are scholaring or giving away 50 trees into our community. So I put some flyers down at the back. We still have a couple left. We're giving them away as part of the tree sale happening this Saturday. So if you know anyone, any senior who needs a tree, we will either scholar the tree itself, pick up and deliver the tree, or we can even plant the tree in there. Last year we did 17 trees. This year we're doing 20. But did you know that each tree takes out about 25 kilograms of carbon each year? And over the 40-year lifetime, it will sequester about 800 metric tons. So over the life, these 17 trees will now contribute 13.6 metric tons of carbon out of the city. And the 20 that we're doing this year, another 16 tons that come out here. So besides bragging about our tree program that we have, I also wanted to highlight just a few things that we have going on with Wheat Ridge Rotary. First of all, we meet every Monday at the Wheat Ridge Rec Center at noon. And if you come as our guest, we'll even buy you lunch by the award-winning Food for Thought Catering. We also have done a number of projects. Let me highlight the projects we've done this year. We give about $26,000 a year in scholarship to Wheat Ridge, Jefferson, and Warren Tech seniors. They are either 2 or 4 year scholarships, $1,500 or $2,000. This year we'll give away 4 new scholarships. We also gave away about 100 coats to elementary schools in Wheat Ridge, and we sponsored the Christmas store for elementary school students, where they get to come in and their parents pay just a nominal amount for each of the presents that they give on here. We also do some international projects from Wheat Ridge. We do a scholarship program in Gaul, Africa, that supports the women over there. We have a water project that we're doing in Nigeria, supplying school supplies in Belize, in a food kitchen in Lake Chapala, Mexico. So again, I want to invite you all to Wheat Ridge Rec Center at noon for a free meal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and I'll check with our clerk. Do we have anyone that has signed up online to speak tonight? Okay, that concludes our public's right to speak. Thank you very much for coming. We will now go to our first agenda item. This is our consent agenda item. Councilor Dozeman, would you please introduce this item?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 1A, a resolution amending the 2025 general fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $11,269 for the purpose of accepting a grant from the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. At issue, the Wheat Ridge Police Department applied for and was awarded a grant in the amount of $11,269 from the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program for police officer laptop computers. A budget supplemental appropriation is required to amend the budget to accept these funds. Item number 1B, a resolution amending the 2025 Open Space Fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $1,211,000 for the purpose of funding the Panorama Park Tennis Courts project awarded to Colorado Designscapes Incorporated. At issue, a contract was awarded to Colorado Designscapes Incorporated for the Panorama Park Tennis Courts project by City Council on February 10th, 2025. This project was budgeted in the Open Space Fund in 2024. However, the funds were mistakenly not carried forward into the 2025 budget. This resolution will amend the 2025 Open Space Fund budget to fund this project as planned. In item 1C, a resolution amending the 2025 Open Space Fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $898,911.56 for the purpose of funding the Tabor Lake Trail project awarded to JOC Contracting LLC. A contract was awarded to JOC Contracting LLC for the Tabor Lake Trail project by City Council on February 10th, 2025. This project was budgeted in the Open Space Fund in 2024. However, the funds were mistakenly not carried forward into the 2025 budget. This resolution will amend the 2025 Open Space Fund budget to fund this project as planned.
Thank you. This is our consent agenda. May I have a motion to accept agenda items 1A, 1B, and 1C?
I move to approve item number 1A through 1C.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Stites. Will the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go to agenda item number 2. Councilor Weaver, would you please introduce this item?
Yep, I can start over. Sorry about that. My apologies, Mayor. This is Council Bill number 06-2025. An ordinance approving a city-initiated zone change of the Lutheran Legacy Campus from planned hospital development, planned commercial development, residential 2 and residential 1, to mixed-use Lutheran Legacy Campus, or MU LLC Zone District.
Thank you. This is an ordinance on second reading, and it will be a public hearing. I am now going to open the public hearing on agenda item number 2, the Lutheran Legacy Campus rezoning proposal. As a preliminary matter, I can report that the city has received a protest to the zoning, and that affects the procedures we must follow. I will now ask our city attorney to further discuss that process. Mr. Dahl.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor has indicated, there has been a protest received on this rezoning application, and the city's home rule charter establishes that right to protest, and it gives the right to adjacent property owners to protest any zoning change, and that applies even to a large area rezoning such as the one before you. The standard in the charter is, in brief, that if the protest is signed by 20% of the property owners adjacent to any side of the property be rezoned, and that protest is ultimately determined to be valid, then the city council does have a hearing, although it has to tonight be continued. But after the hearing's over with, when it takes place, the ordinance, the zoning ordinance, if approved, has to pass by a 3/4 majority, so 6 votes. And as council's aware, all other ordinances, including rezoning ordinances under the city's charter, are only required to pass by 5 votes, or a majority of a full quorum. But this ups the voting requirement, makes it a supermajority. Council also recently enacted a code procedure to facilitate the charter provision, to allow it to be facilitated in terms of implementing the charter when a protest is received. And I want to mention a couple of those procedural elements that we're following here tonight. Because this protest was received after the first reading and before the second reading, tonight being second reading, and the protest coming in a few days ago, the code requires that means the hearing tonight is automatically continued to the next regular meeting of the council. So no testimonies tonight, and as the mayor indicated, this will be continued to April the 28th. Meanwhile, the staff has reviewed the protest that was filed and has determined that it does meet the 20% standard, and we've informed the protesters of this. The fact that it meets the standard has 2 consequences. First, as I mentioned, any action by the council when it completes its hearing has to be by a 3/4 vote to pass that ordinance. And secondly, the hearing itself is continued to April 28th. In the same year that the council refined the process for facilitating protest processing, the council also updated the notice requirements, and effectively new notice will be published. They'll be and posted and mailed to property owners. So we'll go ahead and do all of the new notices that are not required under the same time schedule, of course, because you've already opened a hearing and it's now being continued. But that notice will be provided in the same way as usual. Newspaper notice to the owners being rezoned. As a courtesy, the staff is also going to put up new signs, not required here, and update the WhatsApp Wheat Ridge project page and send a newsletter to the project subscribers. So broad notice. It's important that while the hearing has been postponed, or continued rather, it's important that there be good and full public knowledge of when the hearing is going to be, so that people can come in and testify. As I've mentioned already, on April 28th, assuming the council completes the hearing on that day, any ordinance to pass must get 6 votes. So I appreciate your allowing me to make a little record. It's a little unusual to have a hearing opened and then continued, but no motion is necessary because the code makes the continuation of this hearing automatic. So it's automatic by operation of the code. It's continued to April the 28th. And now that I've made this record, on the record of the hearing, the council can go on to the next agenda item because the hearing has now been continued. Thank you.
Thank you. Therefore, for the reasons articulated by our city attorney, this hearing is continued until April the 28th, 2025, here in council chambers and live online. Thank you. We will now go to our next agenda item. This is agenda item number 3. What do I have on that? Get all of them. Who's got number 3? Okay, Councilor Snell, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor. I will. This is resolution number 20-2025, a resolution of the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, approving a memorandum of understanding concerning the Jefferson County Community Crisis Response Pilot Program. At issue, the West Metro Fire District has initiated a Community Crisis Response Pilot Program to evaluate a regional team approach to address the rising need for mental health assistance in Jefferson County. The pilot program would pair a licensed mental health clinician with EMS personnel and only require police response when necessary. This memorandum of understanding outlines the mission, purpose, and protocols of the pilot program.
Thank you. This will be a resolution of the council. It is not quasi-judicial. Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on this item?
We do. Our Division Chief Kellogg is here this evening for a brief presentation on this item.
Okay.
Do you have a presentation need pulled up?
I do.
Can Allie, maybe if somebody grab that for him.
Lay.
Okay, Division Chief Kellogg.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members. I'm here to propose the approval of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Wheat Ridge and the West Metro Fire District related to the deployment of the Community Crisis Response Pilot Program. This program is something that has just come up. It's going to be a supplement to our co-responder program, and it will, I think, serve the community quite well. The program itself pairs licensed mental health clinicians with EMS personnel. As I said, very similarly to our co-responder program. It offers additional and supplemental mental health services to our current co-responder program. And then it's modeled after the Denver STAR program and the Arvada Fire's STARVADA program, which I love that name. I don't know why. The pilot program is going to be activated through January of 2026, at which time a decision to continue the program will be made by the West Metro Fire District. And the great thing about this is there's no cost. What this does, what this memorandum of understanding does, is simply allow us to participate in this pilot program, which, as I said, only goes through January. The benefits are, again, as I noted, there's no cost. It increases the number of mental health professionals that are available to our community here in Wheat Ridge and the folks that we encountered that maybe not be part of our community, but we are having to address. It will allow our co-responders more time to address those mental health issues specific to law enforcement. And then lastly, it's going to leave those mental health issues best addressed by medical protocols to the medical professionals, and those mental health issues best addressed by law enforcement to the law enforcement officials. And so with that, are there any questions?
Okay, before I go to questions, we would normally open this up to members of the public. I have no one signed up to speak, so we'll open this up to council. Councilor Hoppy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm very excited to see this program related to this program, but not this program. So I'm hoping my question is germane to the topic. I know that the Wheat Ridge Police Department and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department are also participating in is it a purple envelope or?
The blue envelope
Blue
program?
envelope. Can
Yes.
you talk about that a little bit? Because I think it's quite related to this.
Certainly. We became aware of this from our new division chief, Sean Ray. They implemented this in San Diego several years ago. And in this blue envelope is an individual who who struggles a little bit in the presence of police officers, whether it's from emotional challenges or mental health challenges. Within this envelope are copies of their driver's license, copies of their motor vehicle registration and insurance, copies of any other type of informative piece of information that they would want, that they would have a hard time communicating to the police officer. So one of the things that came to mind just recently was a little card that says they have a hard time hearing. They're hearing impaired. So those are I think it's a great program. We've had a great response already. We had 170 envelopes, and those are all gone already, and we've already made an order for some additional envelopes.
Excellent. And coupled with this program, I think it'll be very successful. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any additional questions from council? I only had one division chief. I see that this was the STAR program in Denver and the STAR VADA program in Arvada. You know, I may be partial to the word STAR, but is this going to be the Star Ridge program in Wheat Ridge?
This is going to be a more of a, I'm going to try and convince them to go in that direction.
Okay, thank you.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Chief, you know, words to my heart. So thank you very much. And this sounds like a great program. So
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Councilor Snell, may I have a motion on this item?
Yes, I move to approve resolution number 20-2025, a resolution of the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, approving a memorandum of understanding concerning the Jefferson County Community Crisis Response Pilot Program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilor Hoppy. Is there discussion on the motion? Councilor Hulteen.
Thank you. I just want to be brief and I'm really grateful that as a community and as a city, this is the kind of program we are piloting, and I do hope that it's successful and moves forward. This is just another example of our police department, just trying to really be responsive to our community's needs. So looking forward to hearing how the pilot goes.
Thank you. Councilor Snell.
Thank you. I just wanted to also agree and say this is just fantastic. I'm so glad that we're involved in this, and thank you all so much for getting this going. I'm excited for Wheat Ridge to be a part of it, and I really do feel like this sets us apart again when it comes to just making sure that people are taken care of during probably a very stressful time. And I am really proud that we're part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Hoppy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also just want to say thank you very much. I appreciate that we are open to new and effective ways to address the issues within our community and embrace that in a human level. And so thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you. Seeing no more discussion on the motion, will the clerk please poll the council?
With Councilmember Dozeman voting in favor, it's all ayes, no nays. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go to agenda item number 4. Mayor Pro Tem Stites, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 21-2025, a resolution of support for an application to the Jefferson County Open Space Land Conservation Partnership Program. At issue, Jefferson County Open Spaces Land Conservation Partnership Program allows communities within the county to apply for funding in the amount of up to 50% of the acquisition cost of parcels provided they become public parks, open spaces, trail corridors, or greenways, greenbelts. A City Council resolution of support is required as part of this application. Staff would like to apply for this funding in order to acquire properties at 4150/4152 Kipling Street.
Thank you. This will be a resolution of the council. It is not quasi-judicial. Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on this item?
We do. Thank you, Mayor. Brandon Altenberg is here from our Parks and Rec Department to give you a brief rundown of this item.
Mr. Altenberg.
Thank you, Patrick and council. Background on this, the owners of the property approached city staff in the fall of 2024 with an interest to sell their property, and they ideally would like to see it become part of the Greenbelt, part of public open space, which is why they reached out to us. City staff in Parks and Rec, Public Works, and Community Development looked into this and put together this CIF in front of you, and have been working on this since then. The property is on the screen and is also in your packet. It is 5.5 acres at the juncture of Weena Gulch and Clear Creek, just east of Kipling and just north of 41st Ave. Approximately 2¼ acres of this property are in the floodway, and the remaining 3¼ acres are in the floodplain. So it does make any development potential pretty limited. Staff do see value in this property from a city perspective in terms of getting downstream residents out of the floodplain and reducing flood risk. There's also some opportunity for green infrastructure should flooding events happen on the property. Specifically, the Kipling Street Bridge creates a choke point on Clear Creek, just west or upstream of this property. So this is somewhat of a critical location to potentially widen Clear Creek to reduce flood risk downstream. As I said, it is adjacent to our greenbelt, so there's also some open space expansion value there as well. The city is currently discussing this with public partners, including the Mile High Flood District and the Jefferson County Open Space Department. Both of those partners have funding for this type of acquisition. And this resolution specifically would enable the city to apply for funding from Jefferson County Open Space, and they have a land conservation funding program. The timeline and offer amounts are still pretty up in the air. Mile High Flood District is currently negotiating with the owners, and depending on what a final offer value gets to, the city may or may not need to request funding from the county to supplement potential flood district funding. This resolution would make us eligible to request that funding at an upcoming county meeting. Should the property eventually be acquired by the city, there would be additional environmental mitigation costs, demolition of about 5 structures, and reseeding and restoration of the property, and potentially some other work involving expanding the Clear Creek Channel and reducing that flood risk. The flood district does have other funding that can help with that, but it's possible or likely that the city would need to also invest funding in some of that work should the city acquire the property. Should the county and or flood district be involved in acquiring this property, they would add reverters to the property that would limit what the city could do in the future with the land. Again, should the city acquire it. Any questions about this agenda item?
Before I go to questions from council, I'll note that we invite the public to speak on this item at this time, but I have no one signed up to speak, so I'll take questions from council. Councilor Hoppy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to do some location clarification. So to the south of this photo would then be Everett Middle School. To the west of it is the rec center. And then to the north of it would be more residential, but as you're driving on Kipling, when you look to the east is what you're looking at on the property, right?
Correct, yeah, pretty far south is Everett. Yeah, just to the north is like the Armstrong Gym, and Kipling is just to the west of this map, this photo.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. Brandon, would you mind just go over a little bit more about what's on the property now?
Yep, there's currently one 1940s house. There's also a carriage house. There's a barn, and there's a shed, and there's what you could call a garage or a shed. There's about 5 structures. They're not in great condition.
Are these all abandoned?
There is a caretaker of the property living in the carriage house. The main house is midway through renovations. It's not currently livable, I don't think. And the other structures are in pretty rough shape.
So they really wouldn't have much value going forward then?
Correct. From the city's perspective, at least from Parks and Rec and Public Works, we don't see any value in the structures, just the land.
And then the other question is, has any soil evaluation taken place?
We're currently in the midst of a Phase 1 environmental site assessment that's funded by the Mile High Flood District. That started about a week and a half ago and should be done in the next approximately 3 weeks. We're joining them for a site visit on Wednesday.
Any preliminary indications of what you might find?
Not yet. There are concerns about asbestos and lead paint given the age of the buildings. But
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Hulteen.
Thank you. Counselor Larson was a perfect tee up for my questions. Thank you. So should this move forward, would we have a better assessment of like the city's liability for addressing the existing structures if we have to take them down? And then if I'm understanding correctly, it sounded like you were saying we also then may be responsible for some of the costs associated with reconfiguring the channel. Would that potentially be the city's cost, or would that be the flood district? Like where would channel reconfiguration fall?
Yeah, for the first question, the Phase 1 ESA should give us more information about what mitigation costs are needed and how much that will cost. The Mile High Flood District is also, at their own cost, doing a formal estimate of what those mitigation costs will be based on the results of the Phase 1 ESA. We are currently discussing with the Flood District if there's a possibility to share the burden of the mitigation and restoration costs. With the second question, that would also be needed to be discussed with the Flood District about who would bear the cost burden of reconfiguring the channel. That is something that is within the Flood District's mission, but it'll probably come down to their budget and how much they would invest in just acquiring this property, and what year those changes theoretically could happen, and if they have funding for that in that year.
And then if we're successful in acquiring the property and working with some of the flow of the Clear Creek, could that potentially lower some of the flood insurance for the adjacent properties? How would that like get incorporated into our flood map?
Yes.
I know you're not an engineer.
Thank you for mentioning that. I would need to pass that along to our floodplain engineer, but
Probably know better than
Luckily, we have.
So the city council may recall a couple of months ago, we amended an agreement with Mile High Flood District in the city to study this stretch from approximately Kipling, just a little bit west of here, all the way to Wadsworth. And so we're in the process of doing that study right now, or Mile High has actually initiated that with Muller Engineering. And so we're waiting to see the outcomes of that. But as we've talked about with the Stormwater Master Plan, there is a plan, and to the upper reaches here, further to the east on Clear Creek, is to mitigate some of those homes where we have approximately 100 and so that are within the floodway. And so this is part of that bigger effort, but at this time, we don't know the extent of where the work would occur, nor what the breakdown of costs would be, but more than likely, the city would participate in those regional costs, and I've accounted for that in our Stormwater Master Plan anticipated costs.
Great, thanks for all the team responses on that.
And Director, if you just introduced yourself for the record.
Excuse me, sorry. Maria DeAndre, Director of Public Works.
Thank you. I'm sorry,
Thank
excuse
you.
me.
No, thank you for the
Anything further?
clarification. That's it for questions. I just, I know that this is a big issue and a great opportunity, so thank you for bringing it forward, and it sounds like we could be addressing a lot of things. There are some crazy dogs that are on that property right now that occasionally get out, so I do know there's dogs living on the property because I've encountered them, so, all right, thanks.
Thank you. Counselor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. And this might be a question for Director DeAndrea. Sorry for calling you back up. So if the city is considering the channelization, kind of redoing that in that area, I know there's that City of Denver settlement ponds just to the east on the other side.
Mhm.
Would that kind of tie into this potentially too? And could you kind of tell those that don't know about those?
Certainly, yeah. It's just off to the, I think it's off the screen or off this photo just to the right or the east of this area. There's settling ponds, as you mentioned, that are currently owned by Denver Water. Because of the new water treatment plant that they've constructed up in the Broomfield area, they're no longer in need of that area for a settling pond. So we're potentially, again, going to look at acquiring those properties for some sort of either this regional project along the creek or for stormwater detention for city facilities. We're still waiting. We still need to look at that study again for this reach and get that study done by Mile High Flood District before making any types of purchases. So I think the timing of this is probably a little bit early,
but we wanted to be reactive and responsive to the property owner's request.
Thank you. Thank you. Counselor Snell.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question. You mentioned a reverter, and I'm having trouble remembering, but we had a discussion earlier about a different reverter that was moved to another park. And are we at a limit, or do we have to do anything with that, or is that just, did I just make that up? Probably.
I can speak to that. No, anytime we use the Jefferson County Open Space funds for the acquisition of a property or development on, we put a reverter, or they put a reverter on that property, and that just essentially means that it needs to be utilized for parks and recreation purposes in perpetuity. And what you're thinking of was the move from Town Center Park to the Green at 38th.
Are there any further questions on this item before I ask for a motion? Seeing none, Mayor Pro Tem Stites, may I have a motion on this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve Resolution 21-2025, a resolution of support for an application to the Jefferson County Open Space Land Conservation Partnership Program.
We have a motion and a second by Counselor Ohm. Is there discussion on the motion? Counselor Weaver.
I think this is fantastic. Thank you for bringing this up. And I just want to say my vote of support is because this is a highly visible place along Kipling. It's also just a project that brings a lot of open space together as far as for, certainly for a bid to the Jefferson County Open Space Program. It just makes a lot of sense because it's right on the Clear Creek area walkway. I just think this would be a fantastic asset in the future, and I think highly worth. Yeah, it'll be some work and it'll be some money to mitigate it, but I think it'll be make a big difference as you drive down Kipling with the balance of trails on either side. So thank you very much for all of you for bringing this forward. I'm really excited to support it.
Thank you. Counselor Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, I completely agree that this is a very, very important first step or early step in the process. There is a lot of stuff that has to be done. There's information that we don't have that we will have soon. And so I think I just want to make it very clear that, again, this is a very early state, and there's going to be lots of discussion about this. It's a very important part of the city landscape, and I look forward to supporting this general effort in the future.
Thank you. Counselor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. I remember it wasn't that long ago, about a year, when I looked at my phone at the area map and I thought that would be a nice piece of property, but that's never going to come up. And I definitely not within a year. And so I'm really surprised that this is the opportunity came up, and fully support it. So sometimes things work out in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the motion? And I can't see whether Counselor Dozeman has her hand up and has anything to say, but if you do, speak up. And if not, then I will ask the clerk to poll the council.
With Councilmember Dozeman voting aye, it's all ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our agenda items for tonight. We'll go to city managers matters. Mr. Goff.
Nothing else this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to city attorneys matters. Mr. Dahl.
Nothing tonight. I appreciate your taking the motion for executive session after you've done the elected officials matters.
We will do that. Thank you. We will go to elected officials matters, and let's start with Counselor Dozeman online.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank Beth June and the Parks and Rec team for putting on a wonderful Easter egg hunt for all of our kiddos in Wheat Ridge. It was a really fun time, and I only have one child that is eligible to do it anymore, and he loved it. So just wanted to thank that team.
Thank you very much. Counselor Snell.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. In further recognition of our Parks and Rec department, I just wanted to say that I just checked out the lineup for the concerts in the park this summer, and it's fantastic. So great work for the Parks and Rec department. That's going to be another fun summer. And then in addition to all of the wonderful things going on this month, April is also Donate Life Month. And so if anyone is more interested in learning more about organ and tissue donation, please go to donatelife.org. It's very, very important to consider being an organ donor. When you don't need your organs anymore, someone can use them. Or sometimes while you still have other organs that people can use. But yeah, that's a very worthy cause as well. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilor Hulteen.
Thank you. So Happiness Gardens opened recently. So Happiness Garden season is here, which means I will be providing monthly or Monday updates. But it's exciting over there. There's a new fence that is pretty fancy, and it allows for better access for some of the equipment that's needed. And then there's a working sink that's been installed. So just when you thought Happiness Gardens couldn't get any more awesome, it just goes ahead and does that. So I just want to recognize our Parks and Recreation for just continued investment in that important asset. And when I was riding my bike over here, the parking lot was full. So and it was not just soccer kids, it was people at the garden. So that just continues to be a really magical place, and I'm looking forward to watching things grow.
Thank you. Councilor Larson.
And just very briefly, like to thank our city manager Goff for speaking at the annual April State of the City address at the Wheat Ridge Business Association meeting on this last Tuesday. I'd have to say he's batting 1,000 because he's 2 in a row now. He's just knocked it out of the park, presenting to both of the Chamber and the Business Association updates on where the city is right now and all the progress we're making, and the very positive outlook for the rest of this year. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. Councilor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to bring up the Wheat Ridge High School is having a houseplant sale on May 2nd from 4:30 to 7:30, and May 3rd, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're selling houseplants, so please support them. It helps fund their agricultural program. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Weaver.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councilor Snell, for bringing up the donor month. It's a very important thing. And I also have been hearing a lot of power equipment around District 3. And I just want to remind everybody that as you're using your chainsaws and your clippers and everything else, to please wear your safety stuff, your eye coverage, your head coverage, your chain mail. If you're using a chainsaw, any of you have seen me dressed up in my chainmail outfit. Tis the season, so please be conscious of how dangerous those things are. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Hoppe.
Nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Stites.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think along with Councilor Larson, I was also really impressed with City Manager Goff's presentation the other day at the Business Association meeting. And we do have a lot of really great things going on in the city, and I think they were really excited about that. So I wanted to just give a quick shout out to the Business Association. Fantastic group of people. If you own a business in Wheat Ridge, the Business Association and the Wheat Ridge Chamber, and you can reach the Wheat Ridge Chamber at wheatridgechamber.org, both do fantastic things for our business community. So if you can find it and buy it in Wheat Ridge. I also wanted to thank the mayor and the city for allowing me to take over for the mayor this weekend at Coffee with the Mayor, or Coffee with the Mayor Pro Tem. We had about 20 some people there, some great questions about Wadsworth, and I was able to talk a little bit about the calls for service drops over at I-70 and Kipling, and a lot of other great things that we have going on in the city as far as development goes. So thank you again for that opportunity, and really great our citizens coming out and speaking to their elected officials. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for taking that meeting. I had an all-day retreat with Dr. Cog on Saturday, and I appreciate you standing in and having a great meeting. I want to thank the Optimist Club for inviting me to speak to them last Wednesday morning. My presentation is not quite as prolific or as polished as our city managers, but I do my best. And I want to also, I was a little bit early last week in announcing and making a congratulations for Councilor Weaver. Councilor Weaver has been nominated by the governor of the state of Colorado to join the Agricultural Commission for the state. And I want to thank you. You've got a hearing coming up later this week, I understand. And all I can say is good luck. All right. We are going to adjourn to an executive session in our small conference room after this. If you would please drive safely and slowly around our city so everybody gets home the way they want to, we would appreciate it. With that, I would like to recognize Councilor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to go into executive session for a conference with the city manager, city attorney, and appropriate staff under Charter Section 5.7, parentheses 1, and CRS 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses B, for legal advice and specific legal questions, a contract dispute between the city and Concrete Works Colorado involving the Wadsworth Whiting project. I further move to adjourn the open meeting at the conclusion of the executive session.
May I have a second?
Second.
Would the clerk please poll the council?
With Councilmember Dozeman voting in favor, all ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We will continue our next meeting in the small lobby conference room.